Aren't you banned from trading? How do you get banned from trading? You are not allowed to transact. Yeah, so NVIDIA's down 7%. We know about the news late last night that there'd be some weird, I don't even understand what it was. I think most people are saying it's being misinterpreted, or, you know, it's really not clear. They need some license to be able to make the H20s. There's the opening bell, courtesy of thinkorswim. But I expect it'll come back. I would even, if I were up more on this account, I'd probably buy, I don't know, some kind of call option, or it would maybe sell a put. And I'm gonna hold on till I have a little more profits before gambling wildly. In fact, you should probably never gamble wildly, period. But okay, NVIDIA's traded the most so far, 29 million shares. Hertz Global has traded 8 million shares and is up substantially. Palantir's down 3%, Robinhood down 4%, AMD getting hit harder than NVIDIA, down 7%. Yeah, I don't know if I have options enabled yet. Good question. I'm not in a rush. And I will short some bull if it's available. 600% borrow rate, still no shares available. Newsmax has such a low float. It's basically controlled by 3 or 4 people. I wouldn't short it. Open an account on Webull to short Webull. Yeah, I mean, I try to, when I try to short, I try not to short a whole lot more than I'm long. Even if I have more short ideas, I think it's a good idea to kind of neutralize that beta a little. I haven't spent a lot of time on Altimmune. I haven't looked at gold mining companies. No, I don't know anything about it. I've looked at IVVD a whole bunch of times. I like rezolut. I don't think it's going to go down more. I mean, I try not to buy stocks that I think are going to go down. Probably like 55 or 60 cents on IVVD is my basis. Ackman bought Hertz. Is that why it's up? The rumor is Medallion's returns have come down a bit in the last few years. Yeah, I mean, Griffin doesn't exactly do what they do. Maybe on the market making side, Citadel Securities. We did 𝗕𝗀𝗘𝗦. It was really interesting. We are short strategy. I think they're both pretty good still. I think strategy goes to 0. Okay, so Lowe's $220 a share. I like to look at EM. It's one of the first things I do when I look at a stock. And we can see Lowe's has been earning $12 a share forever now. But 18 times earnings, 13 times cash flow, probably from operations. So with CapEx, it's probably the same as earnings. It's much more reasonably priced than Walmart or Costco. Maybe a good pair trade. I don't think so, Reef. That's a really good question. I think you have to be humble. There's a lot of really good investors out there. So 560 million shares, so 123 billion market cap. We sold Cheggle a long time ago. It went up, got nervous. 1,748 stores, 195 million square feet. Our portfolio is jumping on the down day, up 30 or so basis points now. Stock market's down around 5% this month, so pretty good outperformance. Texas and Florida have the most lows. Yeah, I don't have any in this account because it's very hard to trade international in the Schwab account. I have to get like Schwab Global, and it's not connected to thinkorswim, so kind of a mess. Lowe's has reported down revenue 2 years in a row. In a normal market, this stock would be like 10 times earnings, but it's 18 times earnings. Yeah, I'm a big fan of OpenAI, but you'd be surprised at just how much traffic Google has. They kind of own the web. Yeah, earning season is upon us. Who's excited? I had a good quarter, so I'm happy. Plenty of vol sellers out there. Okay, let's get to this. Cash flow from operations for Lowe's was close to 10 billion. They have a ton of net debt. So the enterprise value is a lot higher than the market cap, 156 billion. So that would be 16 times cash flow, but not free cash flow. Yeah, pretty big capital expenditures, as you would imagine. So free cash flow closer to 7.7 billion, 20 times earnings for declining earnings. Theoretically, they'll have a recovery, but theoretically, I'm going to get in shape. Harvey is somebody else's app, but we stopped working on some of our other AI tools. It's an interesting space. It's a very tough space. I think that I wouldn't try to beat the big AI companies at their own game. They're very good at what they're doing, and they will kind of eat their customers on the API side. In fact, I don't think it makes sense for them to even sell APIs, and I think they're going to stop at some point. It's not a big business. Okay, so Lowe's cash flow was higher in 2022. Yeah, we just didn't, we have a really nice product that we're working on, so the one I'm using right now. So no need to have more than one product to be distracting unless it had really good sales. So I guess Lowe's had a little bit of a boom when COVID happened. If you're working full time, you can't trade, obviously. Thought that was pretty clear. How do you trade from work? I mean, you got to focus on your job, not trading. Trading is for people with a lot of capital, and I mean a lot, or for professionals that are paid to trade. I don't think you could sit at home and trade. I mean, bare minimum $1 million, bare minimum. If you're not working, if you got less than $1 million and you think you could stay home and support yourself, good luck, I guess. You want to trade for 20 minutes in the day? That seems strange. Joe, I mean, you got to work on Wall Street. Where else? There's only one place you can get paid to trade. It's interesting. Cash flow for Lowe's peaked during COVID. Some commodities companies have traders, which makes sense. Some of these people might be hedging risks and things like that. Hedging commodity risk. Lowe's is bizarre. Yeah, that's a unique situation, like what Drax is talking about. If you can spend most of the day looking at the market because you have a remote job or some other circumstance like that, you could give it a whirl. But at some point, you got to get serious about it and dedicate yourself to it. I mean, it's kind of like saying, I'm going to be a part-time NBA player. My spare time, I'm going to just, play every now and then, show up, put down 30 points and take a week off. Yeah, it's more like MMA. You gotta be really dedicated to it if you're gonna be good at it, okay? Yeah, right? Oversized? Exactly. Yeah, Augusto, zero DTE is kind of like gambling. I would say a great yearly return would be 20%, Will. You can pull that off annually. You'll be very rich over the long run. And I am going to show you how to do it. Entrepreneurship is risk. Well, you're looking at liquidity, Salic. Not really sure what that means, Peter. You can market making options. Okay, so free cash flow for Lowe's, pretty lumpy around COVID. No, you're never too old to break into investment banking. I think that there's a need and assumption that, you're bringing some value to the table. So if you were in semiconductors, you can become a semiconductor banker very quickly because, you got some value to add. You worked in the space. But if you're brand new to every space and the first 10 years of your life working life weren't spent wisely, it's a little odd, but you could still do it. You'd have to work at a smaller place first, most likely, mid-markets or something. Yeah, I mean, banking is a very different complexion from finance, from the buy side. Lowe's, 7 years. What's the CAGR on revenue growth? 3%. 3% revenue growth last 8 years. I did, Joey. I did. I met this girl, Tiffany Fong, just because we were talking online, and I finally met her IRL. I didn't like her, but we took a picture, and she tweeted it, and she said, "Here with my new boyfriend," or something like that. I was pretty upset because, I didn't want the girl I was dating to think the wrong thing. And the tweet got tons of exposure, and Elon replied like, "Wow," or something like that. No, I wasn't happy with that. And then all of a sudden, Elon's sliding into her DMs, offering to impregnate her. Wild. Never met her before. No, I want to, she declined it because she said she wanted a nuclear family, and good for her. I think that, look, a person's private life and delving into that, I think is a little cringe. Elon has a compound where he wants all his girls to live. It's a little naive. Long time ago, I thought about doing that, and it's just not smart, not realistic, and not what at the end of the day, what anybody wants. You got to meet people halfway too. You got to consider them first, then consider your wife, then consider yourself. That's the way it should go. If you put yourself above your wife and your kids, it's kind of, there is this messianic idea of like, okay, I'm here to save the world, so I'm putting the world above everything else. I don't know. It's a different life for sure. All right. Looking at Lowe's, trying to get our bearings straight. Yeah, I mean, cash flow has grown somewhat better. So over 10 years, cash flow has grown 8% a year. So what would you pay for a bond that's growing its coupon 8% a year, right? That's the kind of question you're asking here. And, you know, at 18 times, 19 times, it's not so bad. Probably like to see it lower because I don't know how steady these cash flows are pretty steady, but I just don't know if we're going to go back to a time when the cash flows are less. And I don't know the demographic trends in home building and stuff like that. I assume it's pretty much okay. All right, so they're shrinking the number of stores. They've actually grown them a tiny bit over the last little period, last 3 years. But they shrunk stores and grew revenue. That's kind of impressive. Hard to do that. I'm not a shopper there, but I think they're pretty similar, Lowe's and Home Depot. I think Home Depots are bigger in general, square footage wise, and have somewhat bigger tickets, but I'm not sure. Yeah, we've looked at Tencent. So yeah, I kind of would look at it as a bond. You know, it's a corporate, but it's growing. It's priced about right. We could do a deep dive into management and kind of what they're all about and trying to get a sense for how they're running the business. But obviously, you know, revenue growth's been anemic. They've got a little bit of margins. Again, cash flow from operations has grown a bit. I don't really know what's going to happen to any earnings for any company. It's hard to know without doing too much insider information and getting too close to the. I'd rather study the numbers after they come out. Lowe's does not sell homes, as far as I know. It sounds like they're pretty boxed in. There's not much they can do from here. They're at the mercy. They closed. I wouldn't say sold, closed. They're sort of at the mercy of the home improvement market, which they can't control. And that's just a big demographic question. If there was a prolonged recession or something like that, this would, I think, be a rough stock to own. You could argue that they're also at sort of cyclical peak earnings. It's definitely not a long. I mean, they've struggled quite a bit, and I'm not sure home improvement spending is going to be robust. We have short AVXL, long American Express, short Capricorn, long Google, short Humacyte, short INMB, short IonQ, long IVVD, long Meta, short Strategy, long NVIDIA, long Farming, long PayPal, short D-Wave, short Quantum Computing Inc., short Rigetti, short RTX Corp., short RXRX, Recursion Pharma, long Rezolut, long Sarepta, long Tarsus, long Thera Technologies, and short Union Pacific. That is the portfolio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 stocks. About half short, half long. Sorry. Long Union Pacific. Oh, I have plenty of room. I can easily double this portfolio. Arvinas, the technology could be pretty compelling. I mean, we just started this portfolio 15 days ago, so it's not a semi-moon portfolio. Listen, you guys have a problem with my cooking? Go to another restaurant. A little sriracha. A little salt. IonQ is a lot more room down. We looked at Arvinas Thera Technologies very quickly. It's an M&A situation. I know the company fairly well, though. I really want to be able to edit these as a super user. So if they file on this and get approval, the hazard ratio is pretty good on that ESM1 population. I have to look at where the other estrogen receptor degraders. Okay, KRAS12D coming. We knew that. LRK, I don't know if the LRK is that attractive. Okay, so if they get approval and get used in this restricted population, I want to see what Pfizer has to say. If Pfizer's going to keep going with it, I would buy it. Trading well below cash, but I usually want to see some kind of good asset and get value trapped. So I'd have to do some homework on the LRRK, leucine-rich region kinase, something like that, which is a hot Parkinson's target. It's been a hot Parkinson's target for a long time. Oh, yeah, there's a new function Vlad programmed. Can't believe how much respect he's getting. It's DVD, so that's just for dividends. So just getting closer to parity to our rival. You know, it's just look up dividends. for the past 5 years, dividends and splits, record date, amount, etc. Get the yield, 2% yield on Lowe's. Let's see what else we can look up. Actually, you can technically click in here and type in ticker. So Pfizer's yielding 8%. Wow, it's crazy, right? Merck 4%. Amgen, historically not much of a yield, but they're paying 3% right now. I'd rather have that than 2%. Am I at 720p? I didn't know that. I can change that back. Novartis, 3%. How about Novo? Novo's going to yield 5%. Will they jack their dividend or something? It's a biannual. Oh, is the last price really that low? Novo Nordisk? Wow, this thing's gotten pummeled. But even at $1.60, that's not quite 5%. Payment frequency irregular. I don't think that's right. Home Despot, 0.7%. Oh, Lilly, paying nothing. That's not true. Novo has its own problems. Let's look at Novo a little bit. Not easy to make Ozempic. I guess the fear is Lilly's going to take share. Yeah, the generic's hard to make, I guess. But you know, that's been my concern. I would never underestimate the ability for India or China to make cheap drugs. They find a way. It is a biologic facility you need. HDS is a quarterly thing. Institutions have to report their quarterly holdings on Form 13F. Corcept really gave back all of its gains from that ovarian cancer news. ADMA's been hanging in there, waiting for a chance to buy it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy Gilead as well. It's they're launching kind of a once in a lifetime drug for HIV. Yeah, I think the markets, the bulls are getting bored with quantum. It's not working. They're selling off, calling it a day, moving on to some other toy. What's working in this market anyway, right? Portfolio almost up 0.5%. Yes, Arvinas looks like it could be a long for sure. I mean, last quarter, Novo grew at 30% local currency. That's pretty incredible. TradingView is good for looking at a chart, and that's it, which makes it kind of only useful for crypto. If you're trying to look at anything with fundamentals or news, or crypto doesn't have news or fundamentals. So TradingView is perfect for that. But anything like a stock or a bond or something, you don't want to use TradingView. I tried to short Webull, no shares available. Elevation Oncology. Okay. Some failed biotech. Could be good for liquidation value. Okay, so they had an ADC. I'm guessing it didn't work. There's no way to shut these guys down in time. Unless you think the drugs are worth something, it ain't gonna happen. Only 44 million below cash. Well, they only spent 44 million in a given year. It's the actual cash used from operations, so 36 million. So I'm not sure it's a great return. I don't have specific time horizons. These guys incorporated in 2019. I mean, look, Bush League is all relative. You got to start somewhere. If you're starting out in finance, anywhere is a good start. You know, it's not where you start, it's where you end. You know, Michael Bloomberg worked in the mailroom. You can do it too. We went through Andrew Carnegie the other day. Carnegie started as a messenger boy as well. Became a titan. Named a whole university after him. Whole performance center in New York. So if you got that idea of Bush League, I don't know. So I was using different models like O3, and I think I found Gemini to be a little bit better than the OpenAI model, even with effort high. So I think that chunking an entire 10Q into one of these things and then giving it multi-step reasoning is probably not going to work really well. So I'm going to try to cut it in half in terms of the amount of work to do. So I'm sending the entire 10Q as a text file. Not exactly Drax, but that would be a necessary, the first step, I guess. Robots doing models isn't too useful for humans. So I think maybe what we can do is we can say, oh, yeah, I have a good idea. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to do an ingest and then a sanitized, so here I would then sanitize the insert sanitize. Okay, so we're gonna, am I supposed to be doing input text for twice? Is that the best way to do this? I don't think so. No, this is not for Excel plugin. Is windsurf any good? Not sure this is necessarily the right way to do this. Let me see here. O1 is so expensive. Where's the prompt go? Like, where's the actual request? Enable sharing prompts, completions, and traces with OpenAI.
Farcoin is really bizarre. Market's rallying, but the tech stocks aren't coming back. NVIDIA's down 6%. Market's only down 77 basis points. Some of our shorts are getting pummeled. So good day for us.
Okay, so the Class B is not really the question, but this is a cell therapy company for ESRD or CKD, chronic kidney disease. Yeah, I'm thinking about buying some NVIDIA. Let me see how big of a position I have first. I guess I have a 2% position. That's probably fine. You know, I don't know that I want to buy that much more. But we're up 50 basis points. The market's down like 6.5% this month. It's very tempting to just go long. You know, one stock I'd buy on a dip is him. So let me buy a little bit of that. Still can't short Webull. Let me try just in case. Nope. Yeah, I don't think HIMS needs GLPs to succeed. And they're finding kind of some ways around it too. I think the digital pharmacy is just going to replace the virtual one. And people seem to like the product and it's growing like a weed. So they're pretty smart management team. I think they'll be fine. And we're up $150, which is 50 basis points. So once we close in on 1%, we're going to take the octane a little bit higher. Yeah, we're long 2% of our portfolio is NVIDIA. So that's pretty full position for now. You don't need to go too wild. Yeah, we're outperforming the market by a lot, but holding cash outperforms the market by quite a lot. So. Okay, so 03 tried to do this task, but didn't do great. Yeah, I think it's an overreaction. I think Trump and Jensen have pretty good connection. I don't think there's anything that they can't work out here. Now, one of the problems is, national security concerns. It's gotten to the point where, you might be, you might have to start thinking about who you're selling these chips to. And that's pretty wild to think about it. But I don't know that you win an AI race that way. I think you win it with software because they'll make their own hardware. And there was news today that Huawei, from the Twitter handle Semi-Analysis, if you don't follow Semi-Analysis, give it a follow. Semi-Analysis put out some specs on the Huawei chip. It was quite good. So, look, China's industrial spies, man. At the end of the day, they know what's happening at NVIDIA. They know what's happening at Taiwan Semi. They could do it too. They're very, very good at this exact thing. And, I think American government should just celebrate the fact that we've got customers around the world. No need to cut off China. But, that's what Trump kind of wants to do. He wants to take all of these companies and say, how about you slow down your sales to China? And it's tough if you're a publicly traded company. I mean, could be a good 10%, 20% of your revenue. So how do you grow if you're going to have a 10, 20% revenue decline just from China? We measure growth here all day long for a living, right? That's all we do.